This gun right here that you're seeing in this photo was considered by the ATF to be an SBR. This gun was submitted by SB Tactical and was relayed and determined to be a SBR by the ATF. SB Tactical knew about this and had this document dated March 3rd of 2020. Today we're going to be talking about what's in this document. I'm going to read to you a few little brief excerpts of it, give you a brief overview of what's going on and what was known and what wasn't. Why didn't SB Tactical let anyone know about this? Why weren't we talking about this a lot sooner? Because this is kind of important information. So let's actually read through this here. So we're going to just kind of skim through a lot of this, but I want to kind of cover what's going on. So right here, this refers to your correspondence with the ATF, and a company that submitted one sample of a firearm attached with an SB Tactical SBA3 accessory. Specifically, you requested an examination and classification of the sample with regard to the Gun Control Act and NFA. This letter is not a final classification letter and does not constitute final agency action. It's basically just their current analysis of that specific gun. So SB Tactical said, hey, can you determine whether or not this specific firearm with this specific brace is going to be considered a SBR or a pistol? ATF is getting back to them and letting them know that it is in fact an SBR. One of the big problems that the ATF had was that the SB Tactical was labeling their braces as ATF compliant when in fact at the time only 2 braces were ATF compliant. It then goes on to talk about how the SBT Evo and SBT 805 were determined on certain firearms to be considered rifles. It's not saying that that brace is an SBR. It's not saying that that brace on any gun is an SBR, just that those certain specific firearms through criminal investigations were determined to be SBRs. It also discusses how on May 2nd of 2019, the ATF advertisement of the SBA4, like all SB Tactical pistol stabilizing braces, the SBA4 is BATFE compliant. Now, they had an issue with that because they felt that that was not proper advertising, and then that went through a whole thing, and the ATF required that they stop saying that it was ATF compliant. People need to be more aware of the certain gray legalities that we exist in when you use products like these. This is the actual firearm. This firearm right here is what SB Tactical submitted with the unmodified SBA3 brace. This is a 5.56. It's a semi-auto. It has Magpul flip-up sights, the SBA3 brace. No vertical foregrip. This is basically the baseline bone stock pistol with an SBA3 brace on it. This then goes on to determine what they found in it, basically saying, hey, what kind of things are on it? What's, how big is it? It mentions the length of pull is within 13.5 inches, which is kind of like the magic number the ATF has decided. If it's any longer than that, they're considering it less likely to be considered a brace and more likely to be considered a stock. So it kind of gets into this weird area, but they also note that just because it's under 13.5, it's still within the normal length of pull length that you would find on a typical AR-15 platform rifle. This is where they discuss the buffer tube length of a mil-spec and a pistol receiver extension and kind of just say they're basically the same length. This diagram is showing the original SB Tactical SB15, which, you can kind of slide by compression forward and backward, and then they compare it to the SBA3. They note that the SB15 has a much thicker strap, much more usable as a pistol brace. They go on to say that the SBA3, because the flaps are so small, are more likely to be used as a shouldering stock, when in reality, if you were to use the SBA3 as a shouldering stock, you would find that it's probably a lot less comfortable, a lot more flimsy. Here they're comparing the holes on it, comparing how it works, and they're saying that basically, you look at the photos of this guy, whoever's using this, in some of these photos has some thick boy arms. Like, this guy's not a skinny man. But then they're saying that because the flaps don't really completely encircle the arm, then it's not necessarily a good pistol stabilizing brace, but that's the whole point of the Velcro strap. The strap is really what gives it support. The Velcro flaps just kind of help hold onto you a little bit, but the strap is truly what gives you that vertical support. So at this point, we see here that they mention that, hey, the iron sights are usable when using the nighttime mode, aka the bigger circle. When it's used as a stock, you can use the smaller circle. So they're saying that because the sights are still usable, that's, one thing that they're making a note of. They then go on to discuss how, certain optics would only necessarily be usable, and they go into these advertisements with these advertisements showing scopes that can really only be used from a position where you're going to be shouldering it. It then goes on to show that these various red dots are being used on guns as shoulder, basically saying the advertisement is almost exclusively showing that people are using them as shoulder stocks and not actually as pistol braces. Talking about other ones where the advertisement literally calls it a stock, and that's kind of not good. That's, defeats the whole purpose of being a brace if you just call it a stock. Now, here's the conclusion. Here's the real meat of this. Be advised that just because an item might be used as a stabilizing brace when attached to a firearm, such incidental use is not proof that it is intended to be fired from the shoulder. A rifle would lose such class. Basically, they're just saying that even if you have a rifle and you just said, hey, I'm using it as a pistol stabilizing brace, that doesn't matter. If it started its life as a rifle, it's always a rifle. If it was a stock, you cannot modify a stock to be a pistol stabilizing brace. It has to start as a pistol stabilizing brace and be put on a pistol or a firearm that started its life as a pistol. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Look into the NFA. It's kind of a messy subject. The submitted firearm incorporates the following objective design features. It's big and heavy, warranting the use of a stabilizing brace. It can be fired with one hand. However, the stabilizing support is reduced compared to the previous braces. Has a length of pull which is shorter than the inches that they require, but it's in line with common AR-type shoulder-fired weapons. It includes an adjustable SBA-3 accessory installed on a standard mil-spec carbine receiver extension, which provides horizontal support for shouldering. Really kind of stupid. The firearm incorporates an SBA-3 accessory, which is similar to the design of a traditional shoulder stock than previously submitted pistol stabilizing brace accessories. Basically, they're saying that this brace is more close to a stock than previous braces that have been approved and actually approved by the ATF. They're saying that it's not good for actually pistol stabilizing uses and that it's more functional as a stock, going even as far as to say that it's fully functional as a shoulder stock, which honestly, the SBA-3 sucks to shoulder. It's floppy, it's wiggly. The SBA-4 would be a better option. The SB-15 would be a better option even further, in my opinion, but hey, what do I know? Now, I don't use any of mine as stocks, I'm a good boy. It uses flip-up sights that are more effective when the firearm is shouldered, even though you can use those sights from a, pistol stabilizing position. They're saying that they're more useful. So basically, they are saying that this gun here is an SBR. This gun, which is just a typical bone stock AR-15 pistol with mag pull flip-ups and an SBA-3, is an SBR. That's ridiculous. This brings into a lot of questions. A lot of people out there right now are currently using AR-15s with the SBA-3 brace and have been buying from SB Tactical since after March of this year, thinking that they were fully in compliance. Now, personally, every gun law is an infringement. Every gun law is bad. The only gun law I agree with is the Second Amendment, but we kind of have to understand the ATF will still come into your house and shoot your dog because you're not complying with the law. So if you're buying something thinking that it's in full compliance with the law, when in reality, the manufacturer has known that that is not necessarily always going to be the truth, I would hope that they would have been more transparent about it. SB Tactical made a claim that I was lying and that I was just trying to grow my channel when I said that SB Tactical knew about the whole pistol brace dilemma. They did know. This right here. They knew as of March of this year that this gun that they submitted was considered an SBR. This wasn't a gun with a plug put into the SBA-3. This wasn't a gun with a different strap on it. This wasn't a gun with a magazine inserted. It wasn't at a different angle that wouldn't allow you to actually use it as a pistol stabilizing brace. This was a normal AR-15 that they submitted with an SBA-3 brace on it, and it was considered an SBR. Now, in the past, Alex Bosco has said that they asked the ATF, hey, do you want us to submit these braces? And the ATF said no, no need. And I think that's still a technically true statement because from what I remember, the statements that he's made has been about the braces. The ATF still holds that they don't necessarily take in submission for just accessories because they don't regulate just accessories. However, this document from the ATF is saying that they do and have offered to receive and evaluate a firearm with that accessory to determine whether it classifies it as an SBR. This is where it gets really tricky because they're claiming that they had no notice of this, that they had no knowledge of any of that information with the whole open comment period. Their social media even went as far as say that they only knew about it 2 hours earlier than everyone else, that they had no clue that any of that was going on. Alex Bosco went on video saying that he knew of it Monday, which was several days prior to that 2-hour period. Now, I knew about all that stuff about 5 hours before the general public, and if you're telling me that they only knew about 2 hours before, that's just definitely a lie. SB Tactical has known about a lot of this information for a long time now, and you can't refute this. SB Tactical knew that their stuff was not necessarily on the total up and up, and has been selling it as if it is totally fine, not telling anybody about this. It's kind of fucked up if you ask me. I'm a lot of things. I might exaggerate. I might put hype in the titles. I might, amp things up a little bit in the thumbnail. Definitely true. I will 100% accept that criticism. But I'm not a liar. And I truly, this channel isn't my job. So I'm recording this before I start work today. Kind of ridiculous. I can't, so for me to sit here and have people say that I was lying about that when we know, and now I can show you that we knew that SB Tactical was aware of all this situation, kind of fucked up. They've been selling braces this whole year as if they're definitely not illegal when they knew that one of their guns with an SBA-3 accessory on it was analyzed by the ATF, and the ATF said that it's a short-barreled rifle. What else do I need to say? You know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.
How long did you know about this situation?
Monday.
Okay.
Monday, I found out about that. Well, let me take a step back.